Hold on. Is this thing on? Y'all hear me? Welcome in on a Monday. I'm Matt in the Bureau, the Mississippi Farm Bureau Insurance Studio. Farm Bureau, go! With the home team, they are your home team all across the state in all 82 counties around the state of Mississippi. Your hometown heroes, your local Farm Bureau insurance agents. Hope everybody's off to a good start this week. Here it is, Monday, live with you on the radio. So that means you can be a part of it. I hope you will be. So feel free to text me, call me, comment on the live stream, whatever floats your boat. Love to hear from you today. And I'll give you those numbers coming up on the Country Pleasing text line, the Divini Equipment phone line, all of that and more coming your way. You can also comment on the live stream. So if you're out there watching this live, now you don't see me, our camera's not on. But you got a graphic. You see the numbers on the screen there. If you're looking at it on Facebook or YouTube or out there in X land, hey, so feel free to drop a comment. Like, for example, you comment on the live stream, I can click it, and it pops up right here on the screen for everybody to see. See, Hunter, he commented right out of the chutes on YouTube, said, oh, yeah, Reaction Monday with Matt. State hosting Bama. Big time game. Yes, it is, buddy. I'll tell you what. It's it's a big game. It's a big time game. It's an opportunity game this week. State hosting Alabama men's basketball. Wednesday night? It is an opportunity game. It's an opportunity for State for sure. But there are consequences too. I mean, it's both. You can look at it both ways because of home losses or a home loss to Kentucky, and then that stretch of losing 3 out of 4, which included the blowout losses on the road to Auburn and Tennessee. You're just kind of in a position where, if you're State, no matter how you slice it, it feels like it really hurts if you drop home games, almost no matter who it is. I mean, Alabama's a top 5 team for sure, but you got to win home games because it's been hard enough on the road, including it was hard at South Carolina. It was tough. We'll get into all that here today. I mentioned you can text me on the Country Pleasing text line, Country Pleasing sausage on grocery store shelves all around the Southeast. It's the best, in my humble opinion. Hands down. As far as I'm concerned, not close. Country Pleasing. I had the original smoked sausage flavor and some with other things for breakfast this morning. But text me on the Country Pleasing text line. The number is 885-3776, 601 number. Another way to remember the text number is 885-ESPN. Just text that, it'll get in here. You can also call me and get to hear your voice on a Reaction Monday. I would appreciate that. Love to hear from you. Let's talk, see where it goes. What's on your mind? The number to call, 897-1059. That is the Divini Equipment phone line. Divini Equipment, Madison and in Jackson, your Kubota dealer. 897-1059. Let's see how Beav's doing on a Monday. Hey, Beaver.
Well, hey, Matt Wyatt.
Happy Monday.
You too.
Happy.
There's no such thing, but you too.
Someone's got a case of the Mondays. Beaver. Happy Chiefs are in the Super Bowl again Monday.
Yeah.
Well, was it the ref's fault?
They played a part once again, yes, but that's exactly what, we were prepared for this.
Yeah. Well, we both picked them, right? Hey, did you get it right? Did you pick the Eagles and the Chiefs?
Yeah.
Hey, Beaver, you nailed it. Of course, it's kind of 50-50. But you nailed it. He went Eagles. Oh, man. You talk about a blowout. Yeah, that's something I'm not used to, Beaver. It's different than college football. Do you feel this way? Like, I don't ever expect to watch an NFL playoff game and see a team score 50 points. I just never expect it.
I don't either.
But then it's like, frankly, every every postseason, big games, teams that are competing for whatever in college football, I expect it. It does not in college. It does not surprise me if we get blowouts in the postseason and teams win by 50 or score 50, but you don't ever expect it in the NFL. Well, all right. So you know what that means, B. 2 more weeks of Taylor Swift.
It's already started. It's already started. Literally moments. Because my big time preparation for this show. Because there's a lot of detailed prep that goes into this, and that includes opening up the text line and opening up the Yahoo News.
Yeah,
that's it.
That's it.
Literally the second story on Yahoo.com. The second story was the headline. Yeah, this was the headline. Taylor Swift cheers on Chiefs in $68,000 outfit.
Oh, my heavens.
Yeah, that's already what we're reporting on.
You think that's legit, though? $68,000 for that outfit?
I have no I was going to say I have no idea, but I would have no doubt, because
why, though? Let me just interject this, Beav, and I know I may be interrupting your flow there. Listen, how can any quote-unquote outfit be worth that much money? I mean, if Elvis himself didn't wear it, how can any outfit anywhere for anything made of anything be worth that amount of money? That's just ridiculous.
Because people that make a lot of money are dumb, and they will spend a lot of money on these clothes, which a lot of times are nothing at all out of the ordinary.
That's right.
But they're so dumb, they'll pay it. Therefore, these fashionistas, these influencers, what do we call them? The designers, whatever.
Yeah.
They can charge it.
I guess. But you're right, but it's like, what does it do? It's no different than anything else. It's just really not special at all. It's supposedly worth a lot of money. I don't know. Well, look, okay. That notwithstanding, I think anybody who is an objective observer, you'd have to say that game last night between the Bills and the Chiefs was a phenomenal ball game. It was a great game. It did at one point for me look like, well, it's finally going to happen. Josh Allen and the Bills are finally going to exercise this demon. They're going to beat the Chiefs and move on to the Super Bowl. It's finally going to happen when there was all that time left at the end of the fourth quarter, and they kept the Chiefs out of the end zone. Chiefs break the tie, but you're like, nah, now they got plenty of time. Not only did they have plenty of time, they had 3 timeouts and effectively 4 timeouts because a 2-minute warning was left. So they're going to get 1 stoppage and holding 3 timeouts with between 2 and 3 minutes left, and you're only down by 3. Field goal to tie and, a touchdown to win it. And I thought they're going to go eat that up and win the ball game. And sure enough, kind of what has been Buffalo's MO all year, but it was also in the game, and that is almost kind of playing offense the way the Philadelphia Eagles play offense, and that is everything is to set you up with a 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1 so you can go tush push. It's almost like they intentionally down and distance scheme so as to have the short yardage and the critical downs. They're not, if it's 2nd and 9, they're not actually calling stuff to try to make 10 yards or 11 yards. Stuff does not have to go past the sticks. Yes, Buffalo went for it on 4th down like 6 times in the game. They were 4 out of 6. But that last one, they were coming out of a timeout. Okay, well, it was 2-minute warning. That's what it was, wasn't it? Yeah, that's what it was. It's coming up on a 4th down play, 4th and short. Now, it wasn't 4th and 1, but it was 4th down and what? 4? something like that. And so 2-minute warning hits, and so it's a timeout. And talk about it, all this kind of stuff. And then you come out there, ball's near the right hash. You go single receiver into the boundary, which is to his right. Okay, the splits in your offensive formation means the receiver's not all that far out there. So the corner, if all this makes sense, just offensive alignment puts you, the sideline was closest to your right. To that side, your receiver didn't even split out all that wide. He's close to the formation. So the adjustment for Kansas City was, if you're in the short side, you get singled up, we're corner blitzing out of the boundary. And they did, and they didn't pick it up, and he had to throw it up for grabs. And I felt like Josh Allen did all a quarterback could ever do, given that situation, that it's jailbreak pass rush, corner blitz to a short corner who didn't have to even run that far. Seems like to me, if you play in the NFL, fourth down, critical down stuff, and you're playing Spagnuolo, who you know wants to pressure you on critical third and fourth downs, you're into the boundary to the right, and you offensive formation where not only do you have a single receiver into the short side of the field, you got a single receiver close to you. You didn't even split him that far out there. So the corner's alignment pre-snap means he does not have to run that far to hit the quarterback if you blitz him. It just seems to me you ought to expect that, or at least have a plan. They had no plan. They turned him loose. And, you don't do that on 4th and 1, but on 4th and 4 or whatever it was, you do it. There's nobody to account for corner blitz. There's also jailbreak pass rush on the backside. And Allen has to buy just enough time to heave it down the field before he gets, shoved backwards in the vicinity of somebody. And it was more than in the vicinity. Guy catches the ball, they're still rolling. And it was a heck of a play by Josh Allen. Again, given all that, to have gotten the ball up the field that far, and not just a low percentage. This should have been caught. And it's interesting to me, Beaver, I wonder if you caught this. All right, because it was a goal line play for 2 points or whatever to tie the game for Baltimore. In the Baltimore Ravens game, there's Lamar Jackson last week rolling to his right, and Andrews, their tight end, is running the flat route, towards the sideline, headed towards the pylon. He gets the throw where, if he catches it and falls in the end zone, we got a tie game. You're just trying to tie the game. Number one, it wasn't a great throw. Beaver, do you remember the play I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Okay, and the whole world got all over the case of the guy for not catching the ball. Well, first of all, he's running fast, dead away from the quarterback to his right, and it was a poor throw. It was not an easy catch, even though he's wide open and it's a short throw. It's not an easy catch. It's on his back hip instead of the front. He's got to kind of twist and turn, so he's trying to reach one way while his body's going another. Okay, and he didn't catch the ball, whatever. And it prevented them from tying the game. But this deal last night, okay, and to be fair, I don't consume sports content anymore on TV or anything like that. So I don't know what people have said about it today. I don't know. I just know that on social media anyway, it does not look like people are giving that guy a whole lot of a hard time for Buffalo for not catching the ball. I mean, and in that situation, what else you want Josh Allen to do? I mean, I would say this, anyone who went to great lengths to really criticize, openly and online, criticize the tight end for Baltimore for not catching that ball, you got to do the same thing to this guy for Buffalo. I mean, their season, okay, sure, the Chiefs still had to get a first down. You had some timeouts left. It didn't spell the end of the game. But if he catches that, you and I both know what's about to happen. At minimum, they're going to tie the ball game if he catches that on the 4th down heave up the field by Josh Allen. Minimum, you tie the game. But the way Josh Allen was playing, especially in the red zone when they got down there, you're a first down away from red zone. You win in the game probably. I just don't. I don't know how it is that one guy can drop a ball and the whole world comes down on him, and another guy drops a ball and it's crickets. I'm not saying you should come down on either one of them. Football's hard, okay? But the reaction to that stuff is curious to me, how it happens that way. Okay, and then here's the other side of it. How good is Patrick Mahomes? How good is he? I mean, it was almost like the first play of the game, for him anyway, offensively for the Chiefs, their first play was an indication of just how locked in he was going to be for the rest of the night. That RPO pull and throw. So he's reading it. And he's so good. He's just so good. I am not exaggerating when I say this, the following. 2 or 3 times last night, he ran RPO, run pass option stuff, and pulled and threw so quickly and decisively and accurately that it's like it even fooled my eyes, because I'm watching a little bit of the line of scrimmage, and he's operating in the RPO game so fast that it's like it happens before I catch up to him, reading the play side inside linebacker and deciding to pull or not. He's already pulled and thrown it up the field. It's happening so fast, and he caught the Bills off guard. The first play, offensive play of the game for the Chiefs. Go back and watch it. Look how quickly he reads it, pulls that, throws it, and you get this huge play up the field. It's like a signal right off the bat. He does some things that are uncanny. Anything he needs to do. Ran the ball like crazy last night. Had in the regular season game, you saw that stat. In the regular season game that the Chiefs lost to the Bills, he had no rush yards. Mahomes had none. Last night, 11 carries, 2 touchdowns, 43 yards. He's incredible. Chiefs defense, 4th down stop. Listen, the referees robbed them. Well, okay, first of all, you have to admit it was close. It's not like it was clearly obvious. Okay, and then the other thing, people making a big deal out of 2 officials, both side judges, running in with different spots. Like that doesn't happen in every single game all the time. That's really the way it happens. You spot it based on what you saw. And then the head guy decides which one had the best view. And you go, oh, well, he ran quarterback sneak, though. How do you know he had the best view? And then the head ref goes, what side did he finish on? He finished on your side or his side? Which way? You go, well, he ran to the left. All right, well, we're going with the guy on the left then. Well, the guy on the right might have had a better. No, that's not the way this works. It's not the way officiating crews work. People going, oh, my gosh, look at this. The line judge on, one side comes running down, and then the side judge on the other runs in. He's got a different spot. And they went with the one that benefited the Chiefs. Watch football game. 15 times a game, the side and the line come running in with different spots. And when there's no obvious direction, let's say it's a quarterback sneak, head guy, white hat, says, which way did he run? He went, A gap right, B gap left. He went left. Okay, he calls in the side. And then they reviewed it and upheld it. Just looking for something to holler and scream about. Now, all that said, the Eagles may score 40 points in the Super Bowl. They look really good. And they do have the best defense in the NFL. Man, it's a match. It's an all-timer. And don't you get the feeling, too, that the entire country is going to root against the Chiefs and pull for the Eagles? Don't you get the feeling? I do. Because I think they're tired of it. We get tired of the same teams winning. These little dynasties. In college football, we got sick and tired of Saban and Alabama. It's always Saban and Alabama. Sick and tired of seeing Saban and Alabama. Somebody beat them, right? Then it's Georgia. Georgia, Georgia, Georgia. I'm sick of Georgia. Everywhere I turn around is Georgia. I'm sick of it. Right? We get tired of that. Before that, it was what? The Patriots. Every year. Over and over. It's the same thing. And here we are with Kansas City. For Chiefs fans, man, it is rarefied air. You know, what is this? The Kansas City Chiefs, what? They're now 9-0 at home, 8-0 at home in a regular season, 9-0 at home on the year. They're just really good. All right. Reaction Monday. I'm coming to your reaction next. On the Country Pleasing text line, we'll go to Hunter and Nick and Old Tackle and St. Louis Vic, Hog Jow and Jason and Flagstaff and all y'all. And on the live stream, Hunter and Hale State Fan and everybody over there. Coming to you as we get started here on this Monday. I'm Matt in the Bureau, the Farm Bureau Insurance Studio. Stick around.
I'm Eddie Holcomb with Washington County Farm Bureau Insurance.
I'm Scott Rainwater with Farm Bureau Insurance here in Washington County.
I'm Blake Policini with Washington County Farm Bureau.
I'm Brian Street with Farm Bureau Insurance in Washington County, and we are your home team.
Y'all have heard me talk about Murray West and murraywest.com. They made the hat that I'm wearing. Got the Natchez Trace logo on it. I've told you a little bit about what they are. Contract embroidery company here in Mississippi. Started back in 1996, family owned. They do a phenomenal job, and I got to go visit their place up in New Albany. Let me show you a little bit about it. You know, when I say they do quality stuff, they really do. And so custom apparel, team stuff, I mean, really and truly, just about every high school in the state is sending their embroidered, you know, team gear, jackets, shirts, hats, stuff. Baseball teams, football teams, they're sending it to the folks at Murray West in New Albany. You go to their website, murraywest.com, you go to the bottom, you can kind of see some of the Prairie Wildlife, Ole Miss Athletics, Gentile, others that they work with. Can't recommend them enough. If you need your logo printed, embroidered, sewn on to anything, custom apparel and other stuff, make sure you go there, Murray West. You can find them online. murraywest.com. That's MURRY West.com.
I had this opportunity to come up to a friend of mine that was an agent here at Farm Bureau that, you know, he said this may be something I like to do because he knew I was involved in the community, and what we do, we're supporting the community. We're doing stuff to protect the members of our community. I've been here almost a decade, and what we do, we help people every day through the products we sell. We make recommendations to them, stuff to protect their assets, protect their lives, their families, and, you know, we're local. We're local people. Everybody that works in this office has grown up here, lived here, played ball in this community. I've coached in this community, been on the park boards, the sports league boards, the booster club boards. The community is what's important here in Farm Bureau. We push the local community. We're a Mississippi company. That's a Washington School team ball from 2019. Greg Wallace was the head coach then, and him and I were really good friends. I've been in Greenville my whole entire life. My family's been here. This is home. I'm not going anywhere. I'm here to support the people of Washington County, protect them. I'm Scott Rainwater with Farm Bureau Insurance here in Washington County. We are the home team.
I think you know what time it is. It's time to eat. country pleasing, jalapeno and cheddar, green onion. And no, it's not a grill, see that? But the fire is just about burnt down enough where it's time to put some of this on there. And the only decision when it comes to country pleasing sausage is which flavor, jalapeno and cheddar or maybe green onion. Both.
Break me off a piece of that.
Look at that, what that is. That's real green onion. Like that monkey who set his tail on a railroad track. It won't be long now.
Got it all for you.
Just listen to that!
At The Zone 105.9 and coming to you worldwide at TheZone1059.com.
All right, back with you. Let's see what we can get here on the text line, the country pleasing text line. Hunter has a two-parter. He says, Matt, it's remarkable what the Chiefs have been able to do when games are one-score games and coming down to the wire. The Chiefs have won 17 straight. I like that. He says, speaking of how difficult that is to be able to make the play when needed, 17 straight. Yeah, I mean, it's just, it is very, very, very Patriot-like. I mean, it's Mahomes, it's very, very Brady-like, where it's just always, Mahomes makes everybody around him better. Whole teams, like they play better because they have him, they know it. And you just keep those games, keep battling, always playing with some hope. You're down, it's okay, you still play because all we got to do is get him a possession, and then he goes and comes through with it. It really is incredible, especially at that level. That's the other thing too. It's like, you take a guy like me, played college ball a long time ago, played in the SEC a long time ago, but still can kind of look through the face mask of a college helmet and kind of know what it looks like, feels like, having been in there and done that. But I can certainly appreciate the fact, whether I can grasp it fully, and I can't visualize it because I didn't do it, but I can still grasp the undeniable fact, just how hard that's got to be at that level against those kinds of teams and those kinds of athletes, and just how sharp he is. It's incredible. And then Hunter said he saw a lot of good bootlegs in the game last night, wondering why the college system doesn't call for more bootlegs. He says, I want at least 4 a game. Yeah, okay, so if we're being technical, right, the naked bootleg. Well, all right. You may find this funny even, in good old X's and O's vernacular and football lingo going all the way back to whenever, that there were 2 types of primary play actions that allowed the quarterback to reverse out, fake a handoff, and then come off the fake with the ball and roll out of the pocket after faking the handoff. And they were boots and waggles. You'd have a boot, you'd have a waggle. And for the most part, the boot leg meant you didn't have a lead blocker out in front of you. And the waggle meant you did. Now, don't ask me about anything else. It's just my very basic novice understanding of some of that stuff going way back. And, when you're under center, when you're a quarterback you start the play, Hunter, from under center, the old stuff of you're faking that lead, inside lead, and power. And you run counter off of it, but you're faking that power because you would reverse out, what they would call reverse out. In other words, you're under center as a quarterback. Picture it. And with a lead blocker, your tailback's going to run over here to the left, okay, off of left guard or left tackle, depending on which gap it's called to. So let's say it's a running play to the left, but when you take the snap, you don't immediately turn to your left to handle the ball. No, you go the other way. That's called reversing out. meaning you take the snap, we're running left, but I actually turn to my right. I reverse out and then go back and meet him. And you think, well, why do you do that? Well, it gives you an opportunity to hide the football better. So as soon as everything's flowing to my left, but I do too, but I do it by reversing out the other way. So immediately I've got my back turned to the defense and they cannot see the football in my hand. And you got some deception in there. And it helps with that play action. When you call a bootleg, then you fake the run and you come off of it, and they may not know if you have the ball or not. That's the hope. And the old backside end who had contained, if he didn't get pulled in by the run play action, he'd come in there, and as soon as the quarterback turned his head to begin his boot, there's a guy on him, and bam, you get a helmet right under the chin. That's what happened to me in high school. Split my chin wide open. You know, one of those tough, you feel good about yourself in high school. You get your chin split open, there's blood everywhere the whole game, and you're just playing through it. And it's like you feel tough. I'm all bloody. Look at me. Still playing through it. I'm fine. And then after the game, they take you to the doctor to sew your chin up. And you know what they have to do? You know, your chin split wide open from one side to the other. What do they have to do? Yep. They got to stick that needle right in there to put that deadening stuff down in it. So before they start sewing it up, and that needle going in your chin before you've gotten any, what is that called? Novocaine? Before you've gotten any deadening, your eyes water up. You feel like crying. You realize you're not all that tough. You're not as tough as you think you are. That's it. So, hey, that's the thing, Hunter. Go find you all those guys who played quarterback in high school in a power eye offense back in the 80s and 90s. And every single one of them, every single one of us has a little line scar right on the bottom of our chin. Most of the time, that's because at least once, coach called naked bootleg. It means you don't have a lead blocker. You carry out your fake, hide the ball, and as soon as you turn to start booting, bam! Backside defensive end did not get fooled. Nick texts the show. He says, how are we feeling about some of those calls last night? He says, also, Josh Allen is Phil Mickelson. He said he just came into the league at the wrong time in history. I mean, I halfway felt sorry for him at the end of the game. They showed his face over there, and he's thinking, man, what else have we got to do here? Nick, I'll ask you, Nick, how are you feeling about some of those calls last night? You think it was uneven? You think it was one-sided? You know, the only one that I had a problem with trying to be objective, you're a Chiefs fan, you're glad to give it to you. We'll take it. We'll take all we can get. Because see, if you've been a Chiefs fan for enough years, you remember what it was like to go 0-for and to be terrible year after year. So we'll take it. But objectively, the kind of the 50-50 jump ball down there at the 4 or 5. And like it was intercepted, but then it was caught or corralled by the Chiefs receiver, and they give Chiefs possession. And on the replay, to me, I thought it showed the ball hitting the ground. The nose of the football hit the ground. But usually that's ones that they will overturn and call it incomplete, but they gave him the catch, which is the way they caught it on the field. St. Louis Vic texts the show. He says, come on now, B. Celebrities at Taylor Swift's level don't pay for high fashion, but you're right. It says we're going to be bombarded with both the Kelsey and Mahomes' families. Hog Jowl texts the show and says, the fact is Josh Allen is a great quarterback. It's his bad luck that he's playing at the same time as Patrick Mahomes. And he said, and just like our earlier texter, Hog Jowl says, sometimes it's just a matter of timing. No one had a chance during the Tigers' dominance, talking about the PGA Tour. Secretariat dominated all other horses. It's just too bad for the other QBs that they are playing against Patrick Mahomes. I'm telling you, it's just a whole different animal, isn't it? And you wonder how some guys like Mahomes, it doesn't necessarily completely show up in college. Now, I know he wound up being a first rounder, but he was passed over for other quarterbacks. And it wasn't, and even when the Chiefs trade up and go get him, you know, they're reaping the benefits of that decision and that evaluation. But when they did it, even then, people were going, who? Where did he play college? I didn't know they liked him that much. You know what I'm saying? And then you go to the NFL and he's just unstoppable. The more it matters, the better he is. It's crazy. Thibodeau texts the show. He says, I'm not tired of the Chiefs. He said Mahomes and Chris Jones are so easy to like. He says, I have, however, it's funny. He said, I have, however, grown tired of Travis, Scotty Pete, Kelsey. He called him Scotty Pete. Blake says, I know you got to be a Chiefs hater, Matt. That Alabama quarterback's about to put him in check. No, I'm not a Chiefs hater. All right. Blake, are you just trying to stir things up? Because Jalen Hurts is not an Alabama quarterback. He is an Oklahoma quarterback. Prove me wrong. Jalen Hurts is an Oklahoma guy. It's not an Alabama
Well, the
guy.
fact that he was on the field playing for Alabama, proven wrong right there, Matt Wyatt.
But then he went to Oklahoma.
Just doesn't mean he didn't go to Alabama, too.
But why would
Both
we?
are true.
Well, we can't call him that Alabama quarterback. He finished his career at Oklahoma. He quit Alabama. Quit on them. Walked away. Took the money and ran.
You calling him Cam Newton?
Oh, no, not at all.
Maybe you're trying to do an Alabama-Auburn thing now. Huh.
For 1 year, Cam was Superman. Jalen never was. Stick around.
I'm Eddie Holcomb with Washington County Farm Bureau Insurance.
I'm Scott Rainwater with Farm Bureau Insurance here in Washington County.
I'm Blake Policini with Washington County Farm Bureau.
I am Brian Street with Farm Bureau Insurance in Washington County, and we are your home team.
Y'all have heard me talk about Murray West and MurrayWest.com. They made the hat that I'm wearing. Got the Natchez Trace logo on it. I've told you a little bit about what they are. Contract embroidery company here in Mississippi. Started back in 1996, family owned. They do a phenomenal job, and I got to go visit their place up in New Albany. Let me show you a little bit about it. When I say they do quality stuff, they really do. And so custom apparel, team stuff, I mean, really and truly, just about every high school in the state is sending their embroidered, team gear, jackets, shirts, hats, stuff. Baseball teams, football teams, they're sending it to the folks at Murray West in New Albany. You go to their website, MurrayWest.com, you go to the bottom, you can kind of see some of the Prairie Wildlife, Ole Miss Athletics, Gentile, others that they work with. Can't recommend them enough. If you need your logo printed, embroidered, sewn on to anything, custom apparel and other stuff, make sure you go there. Murray West, you can find them online. MurrayWest.com. That's MURRY West.com.
I had this opportunity come up through a friend of mine that was an agent here at Farm Bureau that, he said this may be something I like to do because he knew I was involved in the community. And what we do, we're supporting the community. We're doing stuff to protect the members of our community. I've been here almost a decade. And what we do, we help people every day through the products we sell. We We make recommendations to them, stuff to protect their assets, protect their lives, their families, and we're local. We're local people. Everybody that works in this office has grown up here, lived here, played ball in this community. I've coached in this community, been on the park boards, the sports league boards, the booster club boards. The community is what's important here in Farm Bureau. We push the local community. We're a Mississippi company. That's a Washington School team ball from 2019. Greg Wallace was the head coach then, and him and I were really good friends. I've been in Greenville my whole entire life. My family's been here. This is home. I'm not going anywhere. I'm here to support the people of Washington County, protect them. I'm Scott Rainwater with Farm Bureau Insurance here in Washington County. We are the home team.
I think you know what time it is. It's time to eat. Country pleasing, jalapeno and cheddar, green onion. And no, it's not a grill, see that? But the fire is just about burnt down enough where it's time to put some of this on there. And the only decision when it comes to country pleasing sausage is which flavor, jalapeno and cheddar or maybe green onion. Both.
Break me off a piece of that.
Look at that. What that is. That's real green onion. Like that monkey who set his tail on a railroad track. It won't be long now.
Losing the game. You're going to hear about them all and get to talk about it with Matt Wyatt right here, right now on the Zone 105.9 and worldwide at thezone1059.com.
Back with you. Blake said Jalen's a good kid. I get that feeling too. He's really easy to pull for. I mean, he really is. And you think about Jalen Hurts, that whole journey. Dude, that's like another one of those examples of it's not always, you kind of get kicked around, things happen that you didn't think should be happening, and you got to go some circuitous route, and you wonder if it's the Lord saying, "Hey, man, listen, I want you to do something. Forget this football thing, do something else." But look where he is now. So he's at Alabama. Tua comes along. Tua was just phenomenal and was so ready to take over and play. And was so good in college. It was just ahead, it seemed like, of everybody else. And, really at that time, you do get the feeling Alabama made the right decision. They just go over to Tua. He just took over. You couldn't keep him off the field. Hurts goes to Oklahoma, plays there. They both wind up in the NFL. I guess they were both first rounders. I mean, I know Tua was, I guess. I can't remember exactly where Jalen Hurts was drafted, but now look. They're quarterback counterparts, colleagues, if you want to call them that, in the NFL, playing the same position. And due to the fact that it's a team game, Hurts is having a whole lot more fun in his experience in the NFL than Tua is at his, isn't he? In a short time ago, it looked like one was way ahead of the other, but now you see that it's just not the case. Yeah, that's probably, too, if we wanted to put ourselves to sleep. Although it would be interesting to me, but it would probably put a lot of people to sleep. But if you were to do, I don't know, just a little bit more of an exact sort of chronological tracking of those two timelines, Tua and Hurts, and how it all worked out, it is a really fascinating story. I mean, it really is. And to me, the thing that it points to the most is we spend all this time talking about individuals and individual awards, most valuable player, the Heisman Trophy. It's all individual this, individual that. Some people have 3 hours of talk radio a day debating this guy versus that guy, and it's a team game. the stuff that actually matters, wins and losses and postseason runs and all that kind of stuff, it's a team game. And you can take, with the right team around him, you can take Trent Dilfer and win a Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? With the wrong team around him, you can have Dan Marino and win none. It's just, we forget it. We just, we glaze over. Ooh, quarterback, arm strength, individual, first-round draft pick. Well, long-term, so what? It's a team game. Tony texted the show. He says, Hurts did pull a Steve Miller Band, but I agree with Beef. Go on, take the money and run. Jason in Flagstaff. Arizona says Jalen Hurts running for 7 yards on 3rd and 6 all night long in Starkville, 2017. Gives me nightmares. He said that guy's an Alabama quarterback until that stops, as far as I'm concerned. They're upgrading to Tua. Him going to Oklahoma doesn't change that. And then he says, no wonder Mullen left. The 2017 game did him in, huh? Did him in. I mean, speaking of that one, not to mention a slant route on 3rd down. You get 0 blitz. And hit a little slant route and go hit your head on a goalpost to win the game in the 4th quarter. That was a great game. Blake, I've seen that too. I've seen some videos of that. Blake says Jalen Hurts can squat like 650 pounds. Oh, yeah, he's a great athlete. Strong as an ox. That's the thing about it too. I was talking to, we had Disciple Now at our church in Tupelo this past weekend. And Annabeth and I got to help, and it was great. It does require missing sleep, but it still was great. We got to help. All kids seemed to have a good time. Mary Liddy had a great experience. But there was this one kid there. His parents actually work at the church, and he's going through a phase where he's doing push-ups all the time. He's a cute kid. He's a neat kid, but he's just hit a phase where he's always looking at himself in the mirror, seeing if his arms and his chest are getting bigger and everything. And any downtime at all, he plops down and starts doing push-ups. He's just trying to, beef up. He's hit that stage of his life. And I was talking to him at one point. I said, hey, man, I joked with him. I said, all right, let's go. I'm challenging you. Push-up contest right now. And he said, he's a little squirt. He said, let's go. He said, I'll smoke you. And he would. Okay, for the record, I was only kidding. So we did not have a push-up contest. But I told him, I said, hey, listen, are you wanting to play football? He's like, yeah, I think I want to play football. I said, okay, I love the push-ups. Keep doing it. Don't ever stop doing that. Okay, and that's great. And you want to beef up, you want to puff up and get muscles, and pecs and biceps and shoulders and everything. I said, it's great. There's nothing wrong with that. But I said, I'm going to give you some advice. And you can either listen to it or you're not going to listen to it. But one way or the other, one day, trust me, you're going to remember and you're going to say, you know what? He was right. Now, if you want to listen, again, it's up to you. I said, but I know what I'm talking about. I said, don't neglect the lower body. Do as many push-ups as you want to do. Get as bulky up there as you want. Go ahead. That's fine. But I'm telling you, if you want to do yourself a service, starting now, for everything you do, push-ups, upper body, do just that much or more lower body. I said, and that's the difference. One, it's more important. Two, it's harder. The lower body stuff is harder. It's more difficult. It's a whole lot less fun. That's why people don't do it. If you'll do it, focus on the lower body. I said, you got it? He said, I'll do it. And he's one of those kids, he probably will. And I'm telling you, if he starts now, he'll be ahead simply because he does not neglect the lower body stuff. Jalen Hurts out there playing quarterback in the Super Bowl, squatting 650 pounds. Isn't that ridiculous? It's just ridiculous. Yeah, it's that time of year, isn't it? Blake said his son's doing Disciple Now at a church this coming weekend, but said he's going because he's got his eye on some girl who's going. Well, hey, Blake, whatever it takes to get him there. They ain't no telling how many people have gone to church and encountered Jesus and have never been the same simply because they followed some girl they thought was pretty into the church. It's no telling how many times that's happened. Let me go back here to Joseph on Facebook earlier. He said, I can tell you this, Matt. The Bills were definitely robbed. I believe they were the better team. There were numerous ways that benefited the Chiefs. And then he said, a la Charles Barkley, terrible. Yeah. How glaring was it in this game? Okay, so that's what I didn't feel like this was a game where it was just this glaring, the referees want the Chiefs to win. They paid them off. It's rigged. You had the fourth down deal. That was really not all out of the ordinary for me. And the one was the catch. It should have been no catch, I think, because I think the nose of the football hit the ground. But if you were, that was the 50-50 jump ball down there at the 4, and the official on the field, based on his views, said Chiefs come down with the football. They reviewed it, upheld it. You heard the rules official that was on the broadcast say, yeah, usually when there's a tie on a possession, it's going to go to the offensive guy. That's sort of the deal. But that's why, if you were going to rule one of them had possession, then it's the offensive guy, and that's what they ruled. But it looked to me like the nose of the ball hit the ground. But outside of that, it's just not that there was not a bunch of egregious stuff in that game. The numbers, and I know, the numbers don't always tell you the whole story, but let's see, 5 penalties called on the Chiefs, 6 called on the Bills, 6 for 48. Chiefs, 5 penalties, 21 yards. Bills, 6 penalties, 48 yards. And here's the other thing, too. There was a big difference in the short yardage stuff. The Bills went for it 6 times on 4th down. They were 4 out of 6 on 4th down. The Chiefs only went for it 1 time on 4th down and converted it. So it was a big difference down in distance and those 2 non-4th down conversions were a big deal in the game. And what wound up being a tie game at the end and then a 3-point win for the Chiefs. All right, hour 2 coming up. Stick around.
I'm Eddie Holcomb with Washington County Farm Bureau Insurance.
I'm Scott Rainwater with Farm Bureau Insurance here in Washington County.
I'm Blake Policini with Washington County Farm Bureau.
I am Brian Street with Farm Bureau Insurance in Washington County, and we are your home team.
I think you know what time it is. It's time to eat. Country pleasing, jalapeno and cheddar, green onion. And no, it's not a grill, see that? But the fire is just about burnt down enough where it's time to put some of this on there. And the only decision when it comes to country pleasing sausage is which flavor, jalapeno and cheddar or maybe green onion. Both.
Break me off a piece of that.
Look at that. You know what that is? That's real green onion. Like that monkey who set his tail on a railroad track. It won't be long now. Country Pleasing sausage, these flavors, and many, many others. Get them online at countrypleasing.com. At a grocery store near you, pretty much anywhere in the Southeast. Walk up in there and say, Country Pleasing, please. They'll know what you're talking about.
Grew up on a family farm out past Leland, just born and raised here in the Mississippi Delta. Never really thought about moving out. You know, it's where my roots are. Our family's a big sports family. It was 4 boys and 1 girl, and all 4 of us boys went and played ball at Delta Community College. My dad, he's always been honestly a role model of mine. He's farmed his whole life. We attend St. James Catholic Church in Leland, where we went to church my whole life, and then now continuing my family, me and my wife and my 3 kids. Being a Christian is everything for me and my family. Being born and raised here in this area, there's just something about this area. I mean, when you pull into it, you don't see a whole lot, but being born and raised here and the farm families and just the people that grew up here, the people that you see here, you see in the grocery store, you go to church with, small town community, you're gonna run into people that you know. It puts a smile on your face knowing that you know the people in your area, in your community. Get to know them as friends and now bring them in to my office here and creating that relationship, extending it on, getting them as insureds, as customers of mine, who I call friend. I'm Blake Policini with Washington County Farm Bureau, and we are the home team.
Y'all have heard me talk about Murray West and murraywest.com. They made the hat that I'm wearing. Got the Natchez Trace logo on it. I've told you a little bit about what they are. Contract embroidery company here in Mississippi. Started back in 1996, family owned. They do a phenomenal job, and I got to go visit their place up in New Albany. Let me show you a little bit about it. When I say they do quality stuff, they really do. And so custom apparel, team stuff, I mean, really and truly, just about every high school in the state is sending their embroidered, team gear, jackets, shirts, hats, stuff. Baseball teams, football teams, they're sending it to the folks at Murray West in New Albany. You go to their website, murraywest.com, you go to the bottom, you can kind of see some of the Prairie Wildlife, Ole Miss Athletics, Gentile, others that they work with. Can't recommend them enough. If you need your logo printed, embroidered, sewn on to anything, custom apparel and other stuff, make sure you go there. Murray West, you can find them online. murraywest.com. That's MURRY West.com.
How your children learn how to ride a bike, and you didn't. I didn't teach them. I just created an environment where they taught themselves, and all I had to do was be there.
That's dedication. Visit fatherhood.gov to hear more. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
You can't escape a traffic jam. Know what else you can't escape? Seasonal allergies. And you might think you can avoid that coffee stain until... Oh, really? You can't escape a lot of things in life, but you can escape prediabetes. Prediabetes captures 1 in 3 adults. There are usually no signs of prediabetes. In fact, most people don't even know they have it. But with early diagnosis, you can change the outcome and prevent or delay type 2 diabetes. Take action by taking the 1-minute risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org. You might not be able to escape having this song stuck in your head, but you can escape prediabetes. Go to doihaveprediabetes.org today. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention.
WRKS Pickens Jackson.
We are good to go.
With more of the Matt Wyatt Show. Coming to you direct and live at the Zone 105.9 and worldwide.
Now, here we go.
At the Zone 105.9.com.
All right, here we go. our home team at Farm Bureau all across the great state of Mississippi. Here on this Reaction Monday, get on in here. Plenty to react to. You got the NFL playoffs that happened this weekend, and so the Eagles advanced past division foe Washington and scored 55 points. They're moving on. Chiefs back in it. Chance to three-peat. Felt like all year Buffalo was the better team. Playoffs roll around. What is that stat I saw last night? Did y'all see that? Look, correct me if I'm wrong on the numbers, but I'm pretty sure this is what they put up on television. This was during the game. That when Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen have played each other during the regular season, Josh Allen is 4-0. And going into last night, when they had played each other in the postseason, Josh Allen was 0-3. Well, if that's true, then now it's 0-4. So he and the Bills are 4-0 against Mahomes and the Chiefs in the regular season, but they're 0-4 against them in the postseason, which speaks to what Hunter was talking about, the clutch nature of the Chiefs and Mahomes, and just when it counts. It's just incredible. I mean, it's just incredible. So you got that, and then you got SEC basketball. You saw the results from the weekend. You know, State, boy, I didn't get to see it. I told you we had Disciple Now for the church this weekend, and so on Saturday, it was like all day of it. Annabeth and I were able to help Mary Liddy's first opportunity to go through the Disciple Now thing with the youth group at church, and she had a blast, and it was a really neat weekend. But on Saturday, it was full of, morning worship and special, what do they call it, breakout study groups, and then lunch, and then they had afternoon service projects all around Tupelo where they were picking up litter and helping with this and helping with that. It was really neat, and then it went all night too. So there was no watching the game. I was keeping up the score, and at one time I remember glancing at my phone to check the score, and I was like, man, the State's whipping them pretty good. And then I checked it later. I'm like, overtime? They're in overtime? How'd that happen? A team, you beat them by 40 in Starkville and just kind of embarrassed them. And then you go up there, and here you go, you wind up in overtime. But winning it, you do not have to apologize for winning road games really ever, but especially this year in the SEC in men's basketball. Because it is tough. Ask teams who have gone to Nashville to play Vanderbilt at Memorial Coliseum. Yeah, Kentucky, Tennessee. Who's that to be the other day? Kentucky? Mm-hmm. So it's just tough on the road. So I don't care who it is. And South Carolina is squarely at the bottom of the SEC, but you go up there and then, you don't play great, but you avoid the consequence loss. Just pick up the win and come back home. That's really kind of like was the priority. Ole Miss, tough ball game on the road at Missouri. Man, to talk about how tough it is in the SEC and how thin the margin is in the SEC in men's basketball. Just look at Ole Miss. They get off to a 4-0 start in league play, including a phenomenal win in Tuscaloosa, in Coleman Coliseum. Now they've lost 3 in a row. 1 in overtime. Now they're 4-3 on a 3-game losing streak in the SEC. So, I mean, now that was a road game. They went to Missouri. Missouri beat them by 8 up there. It was a good second half. It was, Missouri had a 7-point halftime lead. More of that. Plenty to react to here today. Really anything you want to get in the show today is cool with me. So feel free to shoot me a text on the Country Pleasing text line. You can just text this number, 885-3776. Got it? You remembered it? 885-3776. You can also Remember it this way, 885-ESPN. And call me on the Davini phone, Davini Equipment in Madison and in Jackson. Your Kubota dealer, the oldest Kubota dealer in the U.S., in fact. Means they've been doing it better, longer than anybody else right here at home at Davini. The number to call is 897-1059. Got it? 601 number, 897-1059. St. Louis Vic, he texted the show. He said, Matt, you were talking about your high school playing days, and I couldn't help but think about the equipment back then versus today. Vic said, I'm an old lineman who would love to have had those knee braces they have now. He says, sure, they were available in the early 90s, but the parents bought them. And these knees would be in much better condition, no doubt. Yeah, look, Vic, I can tell you in places like Prattville, Alabama, the kids in the 80s, 90s, they didn't have knee braces unless they were hurt. You certainly weren't playing in knee braces to help prevent injury and like keep you healthy. You're right, it would make a difference. You know, the other equipment differences, though, were significant. Like, just go back and look at the size of like the shoulder pads they were giving us back in high school. If I think about it, if I'm being totally honest and just think about it, my first couple of years in high school playing quarterback, I had shoulder pads that under no circumstances should I have been able to throw a ball. We didn't have specialty, like pads, like shoulder pads and stuff for position. You know, like now, if you're a quarterback, you barely got shoulder pads on. And I bet the ones you do have are just a whole lot better than what we had. What we had, I looked like a defensive end out there, you know. Big shoulder pads up around your neck, huge things. Trying to figure out how to throw wearing that stuff. Knee pads. I bet you remember this, Vic. Again, here we go. This is old guys talking, Vic, me and you. They would penalize you for not having knee pads on. I mean, they didn't just threaten it. They would actually penalize you for not having knee pads on. True story. Hey, I got to check in with Beeve real quick. Hey, B.
Hey, Matt Wyatt.
Can I just tell you what just happened?
Hey, please.
Here in my Farm Bureau Insurance studio, my standing desk, all this electrical equipment. You know where I'm going with this, don't you?
I feel like I know.
Did you hear a sound a minute ago? Like a weird sound?
No,
You didn't
I didn't
hear
hear anything.
I just spilled hot coffee all over everything in here while I was just now talking to Vic.
Yep, I knew you were going with you spilled something when you started at talking specifically about electrical equipment.
I'm wiping off the keyboard right now, hoping it will still work. To those who, Beaver, are listening to the show on the live stream online, there is a possibility that the live stream may just go on and on and on and never stop. Like after the show, I may not be able to stop it because the mouse and the keyboard and everything, it may be dead. And all that stuff's what I use to click on it and stop it and start it and title it and everything. So let's see, down here, some pictures that are now wet. Let's soak them wet. What else? My hand's burning. Beeb, buddy, it was hot. Okay, so picture this, my thermos. While I was talking, I wasn't thinking, and I was just steadily twisting the top little piece that seals up your thermos. This piece right here. That twists down into your thermos to seal it up. not the cup lid that goes on the outside, but the part that goes in. I was apparently just steadily twisting that and to open it up so I could pour some out. And apparently I opened it too far because when I turned it up to pour it in my cup, the lid came out, hot coffee everywhere. Beef, is this the kind of thing that starts happening when you get old? Is this an age deal for me?
No, I don't think it's an age deal because, you know,
it's a stupidity deal. That's what you want to say.
Yeah, people spill things. You got to be more careful, especially when you have giant hands. Especially when you are known when your nickname is Banana Hands.
We have not brought that up in quite some time. I was letting that pass by the wayside there, Beav, but now that you brought that back to the surface, that's another reason that this kind of thing should never happen. I've always prided myself on having really good hands, like not fumbling, good dexterity, hand-eye coordination. I don't make messes. I'm not a neat freak, but I'm a clean, neat person. This is driving me crazy. I got coffee all over everything in here. And the worst part about it, honestly, Beav, is we got like 11 or 12 more minutes before the commercial starts.
See, how much time I got left?
How we doing on time, Beav? Yeah, what a mess. And also another bad part of this is now I don't have any coffee for the rest of the show.
And another bad part of this is that room is gonna smell. Well, it might be a good thing for you, but it's gonna smell like coffee.
Yep.
You're gonna walk out of there. You're gonna walk in like 7 hours from now, and it's still just gonna smell like coffee.
You're exactly right. Well, here's an unfortunate thing. If this had been, let's say, a fast food drive-through, because I'm talking about my left hand and wrist are burnt. It's unfortunate because if this had been like a fast food drive-through or something, Beaver, I'd be a millionaire in the making. Right? I could be one of those people that's, get this, purchases hot coffee, gets the hot coffee that you ordered and wanted, burns yourself on it, and then gets to sue them and cash in because it was too hot. I'd be one of those folks. And I think I've kind of gotten it all mopped up now in here. That was a disaster. Vic, I'm sorry about that. Anyway, back to the point of the high school football pass. He said, yep, I remember that too. I mean, seriously, playing high school quarterback, and I had on shoulder pads that now, if you tried to put them on a high school quarterback and say throw, I guarantee you every high school quarterback in Mississippi would put those pads on and would immediately tell his coach, Coach, I cannot throw with these on. I can't do it. I wore them 4 years. It's just like when you get used to it, we adapt. We adapted, Vic. Big, thick thigh pads. We even had some kids in high school who would go in there and fight over the biggest pair of, everybody wanted the biggest, thickest pair of thigh pads they could have. They wanted their legs to look huge. Now they don't even wear pads. Like, they don't wear knee pads at all. QB1 text the show. What kind of coffee you got on your desk? Would I be right thinking that that's High Point? Yeah, that's what it is. See, that's the thing. I mean, I went to all that trouble in hot coffee from High Point Roasters in New Albany, Mississippi. Go to highpointroasters.com and waste it. Now, here's the funny thing. I have one mug full because all of it that came rushing out of my thermos onto everything on this desk, a good bit of it did get into my cup that I was holding. So at least I do have some in here to drink. That's all I've got. Louvier, he texts the show. Good to hear from you, Louvier. Say hi to the pups for me. Louvier says, I would comment on the quote, do these things happen when you get old? Topic. But, he says, I spilled coffee in my lap and I have to go take a nap. Sign, go Saints. Look, I want to say this. I have never, ever been a person who could nap. I still don't. I don't like it. I don't feel right about it. If the sun is up at any point in the day and I go to sleep, it's always an accident if that happens to me. But then when I wake up, I just feel terrible about it. What is that? I just feel like a big, useless loser if I nap in the middle of the day while there's daylight. And I get up and I just feel terrible for doing that. I hate naps. Hate them. Refuse to take them. I don't want to. I have to be really zapped out. Worn out. Really have nothing to do. Bad in need of some recovery to want to lay down and sleep while the sun's out. But the reason I say that, Olivia, you say take a nap because that is one of those things, stereotypically is a characteristic of old people. Napping all the time. And if that's a part of getting old, man, I just don't want to. I do not. If that's a part of getting old, I don't want to get old. Rebel Rex, look at you. He sent me a picture. He said, I got the country pleasing hat when we got to meet. Look at that. I have been eating 3 cheese flavor. Look at it. He's wearing the country pleasing hat. He's got another picture. They're big Eagles fans. I remember that. So congrats to you, Rex, on the Eagles trip to the Super Bowl. It's going to be a fun matchup. Joe Mailman says, see, and Joe, with this comment, you're saying a lot. You're saying more than what's in your comment just on the surface. But Joe Mailman says, at least you didn't spill coffee on the mail. And Joe, it sounds like there's a story behind that somewhere. And so I'm ready for it. Okay. Let me just read this. We were talking about old football equipment. Now, Gene says, did you wear a groin cup? All right, listen, Gene, that's a baseball thing. Where I come from, as far as I know, I've never known of anybody wearing the quote-unquote cup in football. I never knew it to ever be a football thing. And there would be no reason for it. It's a baseball thing. And coming up, Little League on up through high school. Yeah, we always wore the cup. Served a purpose. Definitely needed that. But it's not a football. It's not a piece of football equipment. So I would say you can bank on that. Now, see, here's the other thing. Steve says on Facebook, he says, you're right about getting older and clumsier. It's normal. He said, I never ran into things. Apparently he does now. Is it getting older, you get clumsier? Hands don't work like they used to. Craig commented on Facebook, says the Chiefs had the least amount of calls go their way this season statistically, from my understanding. Is that true? Overall? I mean, I guess we could look it up. I don't have the time to compile it right now, but Craig says the Chiefs had the least amount of calls go their way this season statistically, from my understanding. Then he says Patrick Mahomes is just a great player. Mahomes may pass Tom Brady as the greatest quarterback when he completes his career. Yeah, and again, it's a team game, right? And they're so different. Style of play, the way they did it and went about it, it's just so different. Brady to Mahomes. Both equally as difficult to beat. Scott texted the show. He says, "Hey, Matt, I used to feel the exact same way about naps as you. Felt horrible when I woke up." He said, "At age 57, they come quite nicely now. And I feel good when I get up." And he says naps will come with age. I don't want them to. I can't imagine it, Scott. I'm no on naps. I don't want to get there. Where naps are great. I don't want them. Sounds to me like you're saying I have no choice, though. All right. We finally hit the commercial break, and I'm going to search around here and make sure I don't have any puddles of standing coffee that I didn't see a minute ago while I tried to do a talk segment at the same time as making a humongous mess with a coffee spill in here. Maybe everything will be back to normal when we come back after this. In the Bureau, the Mississippi Farm Bureau Insurance Studio. Farm Bureau, go! With the home team. Stick around.
Inspired. Y'all have heard me talk about Murray West and MurrayWest.com. They made the hat that I'm wearing. Got the Natchez Trace logo on it. I've told you a little bit about what they are. Contract embroidery company here in Mississippi. Started back in 1996, family owned. They do a phenomenal job, and I got to go visit their place up in New Albany. Let me show you a little bit about it. I say they do quality stuff. They really do. And so custom apparel, team stuff, I mean, really and truly, just about every high school in the state is sending their embroidered, team gear, jackets, shirts, hats, stuff. Baseball teams, football teams, they're sending it to the folks at Murray West in New Albany. You go to their website, MurrayWest.com, you go to the bottom, you can kind of see some of the Prairie Wildlife, Ole Miss Athletics, Gentile, others that they work with. Can't recommend them enough. If you need your logo printed, embroidered, sewn on to anything, custom apparel and other stuff, make sure you go there. Murray West, you can find them online. MurrayWest.com. That's MURRY West.com.
I'm 𝐷𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐢𝐬𝐬𝐢 with Washington County Farm Bureau Insurance.
I'm Scott Rainwater with Farm Bureau Insurance here in Washington County.
I'm Blake Policini with Washington County Farm Bureau.
I am Brian Street with Farm Bureau Insurance in Washington County, and we are your home team.
I think you know what time it is. It's time to eat. Country pleasing, jalapeno and cheddar, green onion. And no, it's not a grill, see that? But the fire is just about burnt down enough where it's time to put some of this on there. And the only decision when it comes to country pleasing sausage is which flavor, jalapeno and cheddar or maybe green onion. Both. Break me off a piece of that. Look at that. You know what that is? That's real green onion. Like that monkey who set his tail on a railroad track. It won't be long now. Country Pleasing sausage, these flavors, and many, many others. Get them online at countrypleasing.com. At a grocery store near you, pretty much anywhere in the Southeast. Walk up in there and say, Country Pleasing, please. They'll know what you're talking about.
I was born and raised in Greenville. I've always called Greenville home. This is where I, was raised, went to high school, graduated high school, worked all my life here leading up to going to college. So even when I moved from Greenville, I always told people, they asked me where you're from, I always said I'm from Greenville. I have mother, father, brother, niece, aunt, all live here in Greenville. So this is home. This is where I, live, and I've just always called it home. Small town, I feel like I could walk in any place tomorrow and know 2 to 3 people in there. It's small town. Someone's on the side of the road broken down. Hey, you need a boost, flat tire, you need help changing it. That's just kind of, what I love about this area. The blues and the food and everything that comes along with the Mississippi Delta that I love. I tell people all the time.
And worldwide at thezone1059.com.
All right, back with you. Look, I realize that, there's a possibility somebody could listen to this show, the last few shows we've had, and go, that's for old folks. What was it last week? I found the hard drive. It was actually an SD card that had a bunch of stuff on it, and I put it on a hard drive that I didn't know existed. I found it in some stuff here, and it was full of theme songs from old TV shows going way back, and we played a bunch of those. And okay, most of those were from TV shows going way, 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 way back. Nothing remotely modern about any of it. Okay, then today, spills coffee on his arm in his desk during a live radio segment. Wonders if his hands just don't work like they used to. He's clumsier. Now, everybody confirming, yes, that's what happens. Then, 5 minutes of, are you for naps or are you, still against naps? What is it? Okay. And I'm sorry. If somebody out there listening is disgusted that this sounds like it's just, it's content for old folks. I'm sorry if you're rolling your eyes going, I'm not sure how much longer I can take this. It's just old guys, old guy radio. Well, look, I'm sorry. Here's what it is. I'm not planning it out. What'll happen here will happen. With all that said, on this day in 1976, this show debuted.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 Lamille, Lamazo, House Incorporated. We're gonna do it. Give us any chance, we'll take it.
Laverne and Shirley, I don't guess I realized it started all the way back in 1976. Ladies and gentlemen, that was a little, right at 49 years ago.
Straight ahead and on the track now. We're gonna make our dreams come.
They canceled the show in 83, so it was on for 8 seasons. I mean, I guess a good 8 seasons. Laverne and Shirley, if you want to entertain yourself and you're an old person like me, go look. There was a couple of characters in that show, Lenny and Squiggy. Go look up, what was it, Lenny and the Squig Tones? Or maybe it was just called the Squig Tones or something like that. Go look that up. Laverne and Shirley debuted this day, 1976. Don't go look it up right now. Wait till we're done. Then go look it up. Yeah, it's another example of how times have changed. There was a time when someone like me would border on getting fired for promoting something to your audience that would cause them to maybe turn the channel or leave. So yeah, times have changed. Somebody texted the show. It was Kevin. Kevin texted the show and said referees aside, says, can you give your opinion on chasing points in the second quarter? McDermott put them in a bad spot. Chiefs' late field goal would have made it 31-31 if the Bills aren't desperate right before half. Yeah. 9 times out of 10, that would mean the majority of the time, 90% of the time at least, Kevin. Why do coaches continually get kind of roped into chasing points early in a game? You know, like thinking in any scenario that we're going to take the low percentage and try the 2-point stuff here to try to make it a 3-point game or to try to cut it to a 2-point game or whatever. I mean, it's like it's too early for that. I don't see enough instances where it's really benefiting anybody, even if it works out, where it's really benefiting you to chase the points early in the game. You can always chase them late, which some of it too is clarity of decision making. Okay, and if it's late in a game, fourth quarter, there's 4 minutes left, and you know it's a 2-score, but you score and a 2-point conversion would get it down to a 1-score, or there's 4 minutes left and kicking an extra point is going to make it a 4-point game, but if you go for 2 and get it, it's going to make it a 3-point game. You don't get anything, it's 5. Well, there's no difference in 4 and 5. So that makes sense, and it clears up any sort of decision-making you're going to go through on the back end of the game. You can totally justify and feel comfortable with. You just make the decision, you chase the points at the end of the game because you have to have them. But chasing them early, I'm sure, Kevin, that there are people who will look you in the eye and go, hey, when you have time, let's sit down and I'll show you the analytics on this deal. Okay, and I'm sure there are analytics, the quote-unquote book, to back some of that stuff up. But I'm like you. I think the practical side of things says to me, early in games, don't chase the 2-point conversion. Put the extra point on the board and roll. We'll figure it out in the fourth quarter. Maybe it's a perspective thing, but it feels like it's easy, Kevin, for me to stand here and go, I've seen way more instances where chasing points early in the game came back to bite somebody than, hey, they successfully chased a point here or there in the second quarter and it really worked out for them, right? So why? I don't get it. I don't get it either. Man, kick the extra point. Unless there's something we don't know, your kicker's hurt. Otherwise, just take what's there early. You can always chase points late. Now, Lance texts the show. He said he's 64 years old and he's the same about naps as I am. No way. No naps. I'm against them. MSU 1980 texts the show. Matt, I'm 68. I feel exactly the same way as you do about daytime naps. See, and that's the deal. If it's not daytime, it's really not a nap. If it's nighttime, it's sleep. He says, I also keep the same sleep hours as you do, so maybe that has something to do with it. Okay. All right, so you're going to bed early and getting up early? I despise the way naps make me feel. Res Dog texts the show. Hey, Matt, congrats on your Kansas City Chiefs winning. But he didn't say Chiefs. Res Dog didn't call them the Kansas City Chiefs, which is their name for the record there. He called them the Kansas City Refs. That's clever. Hey, Matt, congrats on your Kansas City Refs winning. He says, how long would it take you to replace the divot that ball made? It clearly hit the ground, but was miraculously caught by a KC player that was more surprised than Taylor Swift. Yeah. It hit the nose of the ball did to me when you slowed it down like it touched the ground. Yeah. What is the rule on that, though, in the NFL? If any part of the ball touches the ground, is it an incompletion? Because that's kind of the way it is in college, and that's the way that I think about it. But is that the case in the NFL? The catch, no catch. If any part of the ball touches the ground, is it an automatic incompletion? Y'all hear that? That's me typing. The NFL's catch rule says a player must maintain control of the ball after landing on the ground to complete a catch. The rule is often disputed, blah, 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 blah. Player must secure the ball in their hands or arms before it hits the ground. A player must secure the ball in their hands or arms before it hits the ground. Semantics there. If a player goes to the ground, they must maintain control of the ball throughout the process, which we've heard over and over and over. If a player loses control of the ball and the ball touches the ground before they regain control, there is no possession. So there you go. Res Dog, it's one or the other. A player must secure the ball in his hands or arms before it hits the ground. It can hit the ground, still be a catch. But if a player loses control of the ball and the ball touches the ground before he regains control, there is no possession. Now, Res Dog says, well, Matt, the rule actually depends on which team it is. To which I will say maybe he's right. But if they're calling things in Chiefs' favor, let's get my time machine and go back and talk to 1997 me about the Chiefs and calls they do and don't get. Because I'm fine with it. Stick around.
At Davini, we are your hometown Kubota.
I'm Eddie Holcomb with Washington County Farm Bureau Insurance.
I'm Scott Rainwater with Farm Bureau Insurance here in Washington County.
I'm Blake Policini with Washington County Farm Bureau.
I am Brian Street with Farm Bureau Insurance in Washington County, and we are your home team.
Y'all have heard me talk about Murray West and MurrayWest.com. They made the hat that I'm wearing. Got the Natchez Trace logo on it. I've told you a little bit about what they are. Contract embroidery company here in Mississippi. Started back in 1996, family owned. They do a phenomenal job, and I got to go visit their place up in New Albany. Let me show you a little bit about it. I say they do quality stuff. They really do. And so custom apparel, team stuff, I mean, really and truly, just about every high school in the state is sending their embroidered, team gear, jackets, shirts, hats, stuff. Baseball teams, football teams, they're sending it to the folks at Murray West in New Albany. You go to their website, MurrayWest.com, you go to the bottom, you can kind of see some of the Prairie Wildlife, Ole Miss Athletics, Gentile, others that they work with. Can't recommend them enough. If you need your logo printed, embroidered, sewn on to anything, custom apparel and other stuff, make sure you go there. Murray West, you can find them online. MurrayWest.com. That's MURRY West.com.
I had this opportunity come up through a friend of mine that was agent here at Farm Bureau that, he said this may be something I like to do because he knew I was involved in the community. And what we do, we're supporting the community. We're doing stuff to protect the members of our community. I've been here almost a decade. And what we do, we help people every day through the products we sell. We make recommendations to them, stuff to protect their assets, protect their lives, their families, and we're local. We're local people. Everybody that works in this office has grown up here, lived here, played ball in this community. I've coached in this community, been on the park boards, the sports league boards, the booster club boards. The community is what's important here in Farm Bureau. We push the local community. We're a Mississippi company. That's a Washington School team ball from 2019. Greg Wallace was the head coach then, and him and I were really good friends. I've been in Greenville my whole entire life. My family's been here. This is home. I'm not going anywhere. I'm here to support the people of Washington County, protect them. I'm Scott Rainwater with Farm Bureau Insurance here in Washington County. We are the home team.
I think you know what time it is. It's time to eat. Country pleasing, jalapeno and cheddar, green onion. And no, it's not a grill, see that? But the fire is just about burnt down enough where it's time to put some of this on there. And the only decision when it comes to country pleasing sausage is which flavor, jalapeno and cheddar or maybe green onion. Both.
Break me off a piece of that.
Look at that. What that is. That's real green onion. Like that monkey who set his tail on a railroad track. It won't be long now.
Back with you. I'm Matt in the Bureau. It's Old Guy Radio. Hey, I need to, Beave's a part of this. I need to ask his opinion on something real quick. Check in. Ring the bell for the first time. Hey, Beeve.
Hey, Matt Wyatt.
What if we just start branding this as an Old Guy Radio? You think we'd have an audience? How to say a lot of words without even saying one word.
Well, it's, you know what? I guess you might as well think you could keep people because I don't think, Matt Wyatt, let's be real honest, I don't think there's a lot right now currently that says this isn't Old Guy Radio.
Yeah.
I mean, the other day, all those, all the old themes you were playing me the other day.
Right.
And now the nap talk. I don't think it's far from there now.
I think you may be right. Andy Griffith.
There's that.
There's that. I'm starting to gosh, if I think about some of the things that I say, in certain situations. Not the stuff that you really think about. No, I mean just something happens and you just blurt it out. Stop and think about it. Some of that's at times it's very Andy Griffith-esque. Sort of. Yeah. Maybe it's unavoidable. Maybe it just happens, Sometimes I either think it or I say it, and then it dawns on me, man, I sound a lot like Hank Hill.
Now you listen to me, mister. I work for a living. And I mean real work, not writing down gobbledygook.
Yes. Beef, I got to stick with Old Guy Radio for just a second, though, okay? Another clip or two here. I told y'all Laverne and Shirley started on this day in 1976. And to look up Lenny and the Squigtones, you know, you had Lenny and Squiggy. They were played by Michael McKean, David Ladner. McKean is hilarious. I don't know whatever happened to David Ladner. He was the little guy. He was Squiggy. They were actually pretty good, Lenny and the
Squigtones. It's called
Squigtones.
Night After Night, and it's about 2 nights in a row. Night after night, I held you in my arms.
Darling.
Night after night, sample all your tongue.
They were not bad.
The stars of Laverne and Shirley. Forget Cindy Williams. Forget Penny Marshall. Lenny and the Squigtones.
They were actually a real band, maybe. Lenny and the Squigtones, look them up.
I got the chassis off a Woody and a pair of 60X50s. Fully blown handy like the baddest of the street machine.
You know you're laughing.
And the real deal mirror was imported from the Philippines.
It's not bad. Come on. Lenny and the Squigtones on American Bandstand, or whatever that was. He said, this song's called Night After Night. And it's about 2 nights in a row. See, it's the little things. It's the little things. Principal texted the show, and he said, I thought you said you were not supposed to say things that made people want to change the station. Too late. Look, sorry. I'm sorry. My mother-in-law just texted me and said I'm having not jet lag, but D-now lag. I missed all that sleep this week. I don't miss that much sleep usually. Maybe that's what it is. Brando on the Davini Equipment phone line. Davini Equipment in Madison and in Jackson. You're a Kubota dealer. What up, Brando?
Matthew, did you say you said something about an old man's show? Is that what you said earlier?
I said this is kind of turning into old guy radio. I mean, it just has been.
Here's what I think of it, and I've thought about this for a long time. And I think this is your draw. You have a niche audience. If Dad Bod and Dad Jokes was a radio show, it'd be yours.
That's right.
And I love it.
It's really true.
It's wholesome. It's a lot of. Your mind is going 40 different directions really, really quick, but it's a lot of good content and it's relaxing. And
okay.
But if Dad Bod was a show, it would be yours. So, all right, have a good day. Love
Man, you know, and here's the thing too about getting old. Brando, here's the thing. I take it as a compliment. There was a time if you say that, I would not have. I'm taking it as a compliment. Man, it's crazy how things can change. And Jason in Flagstaff texted the show. He said, old guy radio works for me, especially when weather, critters, etc. comes up. He says, we definitely aren't an audience of perpetually ticked off 20-year-old hot takey clowns like some sports shows. And then he says, we're cultured. Dadgummit. Well, you know, okay, yeah, it really is the opposite of hot take. I mean, it really is the opposite of hot taker stuff. Brando says he's 48, and I definitely take Dad Bod as a compliment. Yeah, I'll take it. Could be a lot worse. It's like our youth pastor at our church, we were Disciple Now this weekend, and he was talking about being old because he turned 40. And I'm like, man, not old. You know, it might not be young, but it's not old. 40 not old? Shoot. As far as I'm concerned, it's not old. Well. Lenny and the Squigtones. Y'all can shake your head all you want to. I don't care. But on theme. This one is also for you, Beaver, whether you realize it or not. January 27th. Happy National Chocolate Cake Day. Just good old-fashioned chocolate cake. When's the last time you had some chocolate cake? Been too long? Might want to go get yourself some chocolate cake. Basketball scores from the weekend. Seems like an eternity ago. Auburn with a 2-point win over Tennessee. It was a heck of a ball game, too. 2-point win over Tennessee, 53-51. It's back on Saturday. Bama beat LSU in Tuscaloosa by 7. And the coach at Alabama was trying to make a point. He didn't like the way it was going, and so he benched a bunch of starters in the second half or whatever. But make a big deal out of it, and they'll be back on the floor Wednesday night and score, 100 points. Florida whipped Georgia by 30. Vandy upset Kentucky. Nobody wants to go up there. Texas ripped Texas A&M's heart out. Now, this was in Austin, and A&M was up big. They were up by 18 points at halftime. And right in the last seconds of the game, Texas beat them by 1, 70-69. Of course, State with the overtime win at South Carolina. That's like, get out of there. Let's go. And Ole Miss took it on the chin. Good Missouri team had to go up there to Columbia. Missouri wins at 83-75. 3 losses in a row for Ole Miss, and so that's just the way it is. Ole Miss feels right now how State felt in that stretch, that 4-game stretch where they lost 3 out of 4, and it was Kentucky at home, Auburn on the road, Tennessee on the road. And next thing you know, you blink and you got 3 league losses. That's how Ole Miss feels right now. But they're fine. They're good, and they're going to be fine. And Oklahoma went and beat Arkansas by 3. Man, Coach Cal not having a smooth transition to the Hawks. This year, Arkansas is 12-6, and they're just 1-6 in SEC play. Now, tomorrow night, Tuesday night, you get Kentucky at Tennessee, 6 o'clock on ESPN. That'll be a good one. Also, South Carolina will go to Georgia, and Oklahoma will go to Texas A&M. And then Wednesday night, here we go. Ole Miss will host Texas in the Pavilion Wednesday night at 8. State will host Alabama Wednesday night at 8 on the SEC Network. So some big ones on Wednesday night. Big games. Important games. Now, Coach Beard for Ole Miss be facing his former school and former team. So there'll be some talk about that leading up to it also. Well, for all of us here at Old Guy Radio, OGR, Old Guy Radio. I'm Matt. For Beaver, all of us here on the show. All you old guys. See y'all tomorrow. See ya.